Okay, should your team do freestyle and Greco-Roman in the off season? It completely depends. If your team is full of football players who also do track and then they wrestle as a third sport, let's say they're in high school and they're going to make open mat like once a week, maybe twice a week, and do a lot of weightlifting. They're not going to go to junior nationals. They're not going to go to Super 32s. They're not going to spend, their parents aren't going to fly them to the Disney duels and spend 5 days out there and spend a $3,000. They're just not. Then no, they don't need to do freestyle. Certainly not Greco, because they're just trying to do what? They're just trying to win a state medal or a state title, right? It would be a waste of their time to do Greco-Roman for 5 months and freestyle for 5 months when they should be learning how to ride legs, how to hold position on bottom, how to get away on bottom, mat returns, Folkstyle wrestling, because their goal is to be a state medalist or a champion, and they're dividing up their time among other sports, and quite possibly their main sport might be football or something, but you love having them and you need them if you want to have a state championship team. Now, what if you have a few kids on your team who they only wrestle, or they wrestle and do other sports, but they're on the mat like year round? They might play football, but they're at their academy practice, or they're getting on the wrestling mat twice a week during football. They're going to camps for 14 days. They're on the Team Montana Cadet National Dual Team, or they're trying to make that team. Well, then freestyle is good for them. Because they're going to be wrestling, trying to go to the national freestyle tournaments and so forth. Then there's that in-between group. So let's say that, your kids they want to wrestle in college, they're doing all this other stuff, but, they're not really that interested in going to Fargo or to junior nationals or making the cadet national team for your state. I say then, and this is where a lot of our athletes are, a lot of them are going to go into college wrestling. We just had 19 kids go Division I in the past year and a half, and another 9, make it 10. Olivia just is going to Ottawa. So that makes 29. Most of those just in the past year. So our academy kids are doing well, and they're not all of them are hardcore freestyle kids, but we have a 2-month freestyle season, and it ends after Missouri Freestyle State's over. Then we go back into Folkstyle. Now, there's that handful, probably 15 kids. 5 of them are trying out for the world team. I wish more would, but there's about 5, and 15 are going to go to junior nationals. So guess what? We have a freestyle night for them. And during our regular practices, during the open drill and live wrestling, they're still training freestyle, and we're standing over them, helping them too, right? The good thing is about freestyle is they basically ruined it, in my opinion. It's just a takedown match for the most part. I mean, anybody with limited freestyle experience can become a pretty good freestyle wrestler just if you learn a few of the core techniques of freestyle. So it's actually better for you as a coach and your kids, but I think freestyle was better before they took away the parterre wrestling, but that's just my opinion. But it does make it more user-friendly and easier. So, that group, hey, we're doing a 2-month freestyle season. So our wrestling academy kids who are in our core skills room, they just do Folkstyle year-round. Our elite room and our world-class wrestler program, they do a 2-month freestyle season. So that's kind of the 3 groups you're working with right there. Now, why do they even do a freestyle if they're not going to go to junior nationals? Well, because if they're serious about wrestling in college. Obviously, the girls, they only wrestle freestyle in college. So our girls have to. We'll do a 4-month freestyle season with them. Even though some of them will go to the tournaments on weekends, they may go to the Midwest Nationals, which is Folkstyle. Then the next weekend, they may go to a big freestyle tournament in Missouri or, Illinois, whatever. So you can do both too, right? But so the girls that want to wrestle in college, they really do need to hit it pretty hard with the freestyle aspect, because that's what they do in college wrestling. Girls do not wrestle Folkstyle in college. I wish they did, but that's a different conversation. I think it's silly having freestyle wrestling in college for girls. I think it hurts the growth of the sport, but that's a different conversation. Now, what about youth kids? Same type of thing. If they're hardcore youth wrestlers and they may do one or two other sports, but they're on the mat, 8 months a year, heck, do a 2-month freestyle season. And if you don't have a freestyle season, you don't have the coaching, there's no club that really does it, and all the tournaments around you are folk style, then fine, stick with that. I don't think it's that mandatory or necessary, and I also don't think it's that bad if you can't. But if you can, hop on the mat, get 20 matches. Most freestyle seasons nationwide are just a couple of months. Now, what about Greco-Roman? Hardcore savage wrestlers who completely dedicated to wrestling, who won a wrestling college. I'd say expose them to it, but if they love it and want to do it, then do it. But I would not make all of the kids on my team wrestle Greco-Roman. It's fun though, I would definitely, in that 2-month freestyle season, spend a practice a week, or do a few training camps on Greco-Roman and let them wrestle live Greco-Roman in practice and hit a few Greco tournaments. But, that's more of a specialty type of a sport. I don't think you should. I want to wrestle in college. So off season, I'm going to do freestyle and Greco. But I'm going to do a little bit of freestyle. I'm going to wrestle Greco like crazy. I don't know if that's the right thing to do. Just because you're going to get recruited into college wrestling based upon your folk style results, number one. Freestyle results way down on the list. Super 32, Virginia Beach, Disney duels. You beat some nationally ranked guys or girls there. You might just go to a little tournament. Well, some of you guys have a great state, like, who knows, maybe, obviously Pennsylvania, Ohio. Maybe you're at upstate New York. You beat a nationally ranked guy. Noah Certain's at Mizzou right now. You guys know who Noah is. You follow him online. He's a freaking hammer from Mizzou. 2 years in a row when he won the state title in Illinois, Class 3, he had to beat nationally ranked opponents. He was ranked 3, beat the number 1, then he became number 1. Then he lost to the guy, then he was 3 and he was 1. Then he beat him again in the state finals. Senior year, I can't remember how that went. I think it was Ragusan, actually, who's at Michigan. Yeah, he beat Ragusan. So if you're at a state where you're beating nationally ranked guys or girls to win your state title, then you're going to get recruited out of your state tournament. But some of us, we have to leave our state because, the colleges, besides maybe a few small ones, aren't really sitting in the bleachers at some of our state tournaments. So get out there and compete on the folk style level. And if you're hardcore and you love freestyle wrestling and you make Team Montana or Team Missouri, then stick with it. So what happens if you're in Illinois, let's say, and you don't make Team Illinois? You can't go to the cadet duels. You can't go to the junior national duels. You can't go to Fargo. Your parents we're not going to go to the World Team Trials. It's in Utah. We're not going to go. You're number 5 in the state of Illinois, which is very good. Probably then, if your freestyle season came to a screeching halt, probably then, you're looking about mid-June, end of July, or end of June. Get back to folk style. There's really no reason for you to be wrestling Greco-Roman 3 days a week for the next 3 or 4 months until folk style season starts, or freestyle. So a lot of it depends on your results too. So you might be that middle ground kind of guy we said, then boom, you make Team Missouri on the national team, and then you go, hey, guess what? We're hardcore freestyle now, or Greco, because you're going to junior nationals. So some of it depends also on if you make these teams, and they're not easy to make in some states. Some states they're a piece of cake. So there's so many variables that take place. But if I was a high school coach and all of my team is football and track kids, and they have zero desire to wrestle in college, I wouldn't even do freestyle. I would just stick with folk style. Okay, but that's kind of where we're at with the high school, and the youth level falls similarly, in my opinion. But that's how we do it. It's worked well. We've kind of made this shift. I don't know, it seems like about 6 or 7 years ago, but I'm sure it's been 15 years. My life goes by very quickly nowadays. But it's worked very well for us, looking at these 3 different groups of athletes that we have and kind of adjusting accordingly. So that's how we do it. Hopefully this is some good advice for you guys. Good luck.